afternoon. Good to see everyone. Before I get started talking about Bison football, just wanted to extend my thoughts and prayers to campuses at the University of Idaho and the University of Virginia. Just some unspeakable things going on, and especially when you talk about University of Virginia and the football program. That's one unique thing about football. It doesn't matter what locker room you're in. You're part of a greater brotherhood that includes about 80,000 people out there. So our football team here at NDSU is just thinking about both those institutions. But turning our attention, Saturday, collective victory. Excited about bits and pieces of it, excited about big chunks. At times, I thought we played well. There were some things that I wish we'd have done a little bit better at different times, but that is probably the course for about every game that you play in college football. That's a good football team, and you can see why they had success and why they've beaten some people. I mean, they earlier this year beat a Big Ten team. Coach Hill has some great skill talent. They're good up front on the offensive line. I think they play really hard defensively. Coach Petrino, their D coordinator, does an outstanding job. And it took us a little while to get things rolling. It was a great drive early. We started fast. Kind of hit a lull in the second quarter there. But the part of the game that jumps out to me, I believe they went on a drive, got up 10-3, and we came right back offensively with a 10-play, about a 7-minute drive to score a touchdown. Then we followed that up with a 3-and-out defensively, and then responded again with another touchdown offensively. I think that was even a 13-play, 8-minute drive. And I think right in there you saw that's what Bison football is supposed to look like. And complementary football, both sides of the ball, leaning on one another, using each other's momentum for energy and execution. We still got to do a better job. I thought we had the ball in pretty decent field position. There was a big second quarter. I think we had the ball. We took a sack that kind of got us out of a second and short into a third and long. A couple different frustrating moments, but again, won the turnover battle. Critical piece to winning games, and excited about going into this one this week. We're going to play a good football team that does a lot of positive things. One of the top teams in the country, time of possession. They're scoring over 30 points a game. We're going to have our work cut out for us defensively, and then offensively, they do a lot on defense. And so it is a high movement. Stunts up front, pressures from the secondary and from the back end. So we're going to have to be well prepared. And the other thing that I just need to make sure is we're going to celebrate 12 seniors this week. And so, senior week is a special week here at NDSU. Give our seniors the opportunity to get up and visit with our team and talk about some of the memories, some of the reflections that they have on their experience here. And I tell you what, that's probably as impactful of maybe 15, 20 minutes at the end of practice, as you'll hear. And I can go back. There's been some unbelievable ones, and there's been some really quick ones. You get the wide gamut of conversation, but pretty special, especially for our young kids, to hear what our veterans think of this program and how this program has impacted them. From the injury front, Mason Miller will be done for the year. He's having surgery tomorrow on his ankle. He should be back ready to go for spring ball. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Still listed on the 2 deep. Is he going to be in a similar situation next week?
Kind of trying to figure things out right now. Actually going to look into a second opinion right now just to make sure that we have all the information that's needed before we make the appropriate decision.
Trip of the regular season out of the way now, kind of how important are these last 2 weeks going to be to prepare you guys for what you have going forward?
Well, speaking of anytime you play 2 weeks on the road, you can get your team cranked up 1 week on the road, but that second game on the road is always that's the one you get nervous about because again you can say what you want, but logistically it's always just slightly different than a home game. Kids we want to play in the dome. We want to play in front of our fans. But I thought our kids responded well. And going on the road, we talked about it before. I think it creates brotherhood amongst your team. It's just you, your coaches, your support people, essentially for about 48 hours together. And I think it does a ton as far as the camaraderie of the team. And maybe these last couple of weeks will help us as we move forward into last regular season and thereafter.
You mentioned that explosive offense for UND. Speak on what you guys need to do to contain that run game. And Tommy Schuster's really good at extending plays. What do you guys need to do to keep him in the box?
Well, he's probably, you could sit there and compare him a little bit to Nick Baker, who we saw this last week, from the ability to extend plays, get the ball out quick. They do a nice job of forcing you to have to defend the field. Just throwing the checkdowns, getting the ball to the tight ends, to the receivers out in the perimeter. You have to be great in your perimeter run fits. That's a thing that I thought they took advantage of South Dakota in this last week. Doesn't make very many bad decisions. We're going to have to do a really good job of trying to disguise some things and hopefully changing the picture on him so he doesn't just feel comfortable back in the pocket. And I think they have some really good running backs. The Huseman, big physical kid, comes downhill. We're going to have to get a lot of people to the point of attack and tackle well this week.
Common term to Hunter this week: questionable, doubtful, probable. Those three.
Unlikely. Yep, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
What's the exact nature of the injury to Mason?
Broken ankle. Yep, I believe it actually was a broken fibula, the non-weight bearing bone, but then there's always some ligaments and things like that. No, I think it's more similar to Gray's, what he experienced in the spring. So they're talking about 2 to 3 months, and so again, we got him for 2 more years. We're excited about it. We'll get him back in the weight room and keep developing him when the time's right.
You mentioned 12 guys. Have you had some of the are you or aren't you going to use your year conversations, or the 12 that are going to walk, the seniors?
Yep.
Are the 12 that are going to walk guys you've already had conversations with? Or
We've had those conversations. The 12 that will be being introduced pregame, for the most part, as far as I know right now. Last conversation we've had, and some of those I just had within the last hour. This will be their last regular season home game at NDSU. Some of them, I mean, it's their 6th year already. So, yeah.
Describe how the offensive line seems to have still perform well. You lose Jalen Sundell, now you've lost Mason. I mean, why do you think that unit still performed at a high level despite some of that stuff?
Well, I think a couple of reasons. I think Coach Larson's done an unbelievable job of working with those guys and creating depth. I think part of how we practice, going back to spring ball, going back to fall camp, and our double rep method helps create extra depth in that position. And then I think the leadership. You guys, Jalen Sundell's at practice every day in Westy's ear. Jake Kubis, Cody Mauk. It's important to those guys, and that room has a ton of pride in the product they put on the football field. And so I think those kids are all intrinsically motivated to be at their best. You guys have heard me say it a number of times. The offensive line emulates everything we want to be in this program. And I'm excited. And guys, Gray Zabel's going to have to step in and play for us, but he might be the best 6th offensive lineman in the country. I think he could start for a number of schools, all over the place. That's how special I think he is, especially of his athleticism.
you're deeper at tackle or deeper inside if someone else were to go down?
In regards to the offensive line? Well, the 2 guys that really have to stand up and perform now is going to be Jake Rock and Hunter Pontius. Both of those guys have taken a number of reps inside and outside, just based on how we rotate at practice. And, so I don't know if I'd say we have great depth anywhere, but Jake Rock started football games for us in the past. Spring 21 had a couple 2-3 starts for us, so feel comfortable. They know what's on them. They got to be ready to go. You never know when. You're always just one play away from being a starter.
Trying to get you in trouble here talking about officiating, but I watched the game and it looked like Baker was maybe past the line on one of the 3rd downs, and it looked like maybe that punt didn't hit didn't hit Wirtz. But what is the review mechanism? Is it sometimes easier or harder at different venues? Do you initiate the review? How could those plays have been looked at?
Great questions. Great questions. I don't have all the information. Sometimes there's inconsistencies on, I'm told every play is looked at. How do we look at it that quickly and move on? Those are always my questions. When it comes down to, that's a critical play in the game right there. Both of them are. And so, you know, it is what it is, human nature. We got a lot of things that we need to get better at. So last thing I'm going to do is point any fingers. I mean, there's so many things that we can clean up. You know, I appreciate the Stripes and what they do out there, and got a good relationship with a lot of them because I've been in the league for a number of years now.
Describe, Hunter being unlikely, just the way Kobe Johnson has played and how his role maybe might expand with an injury.
You know, expand number of carries. Kobe's a young man that we trust on third down, so he can be a every down back. Same with Tamarick, same with TK. You know, so I just think you're going to see guys playing a little bit more at different times. But, you know, we feel like we still have, a good level of depth and that running back room. But Kobe's played he's physical, tough football this year. And, you saw in the touchdown catch this week, I bet all 11 players were pointing at number 44 out there. And all of a sudden, we slipped Kobe out, and the backside safety just kind of fell asleep. And Hunter Brosio did a great job of running up the toes of the post safety, to occupy his eyes to let Kobe sneak out there. So that was a team touchdown.
Didn't make the trip. Why was that? And what's his status?
He's ready to go. He's ready to go this week.
You brought it up. Do you think Kobe's just running more physical or
I
more
do.
aggressive?
Yeah, I think I've said that a number of times this year. I think he's running hard, just confident. He knows the whole playbook. He got thrown into the mix right away, 2019. Sometimes him and I joke, in 2019, he was just running for his life. That's why he ran hard, because he didn't know what he was doing. So he just put his, kind of like a NASCAR driver, just hit it and drive through the smoke as fast as he can. But I think now that he understands the offense, he can be a big part of what we're doing on third down. And he's also, he was on punt D. He's on kickoff cover. He's on a lot of special teams now. He's in great shape. He's as strong as he's ever been.
Better is your defensive tackle group than it was in September?
Well, not good enough yet, but ever improving because of the volume of reps and practice style. I'm excited about, where a guy like Cody Heisman and Duty, Will Mostert, I think, is playing at another level now. And so, and Javi, I've seen Javi starting to play with the physicality that was the reason why he was the Kansas Defensive Player of the Year. So we don't have a ton of guys there, but I'm really excited. And the thing that always gets a coach excited is you're talking about two redshirt freshmen in that, and everyone. We don't have any seniors in that group right there. So those guys are all going to be back.
Not this week, but does Eli have a chance?
I think so. I think if you asked him, he'd say yes. No, chance to be back. Excuse me, not this week. Yep.
What would he add if he comes back? And what's reasonable? Obviously he hasn't played for a while. What's reasonable? How much can he play?
Yeah,
when he does come
that
back?
remains to be seen. We're a long ways from that point right now, so that'd be just speculation.
Describe what Jake Lippy has meant, the ability to get open and almost every time on third down convert.
Right. Veteran player. Last year was kind of hindered with injuries, so kind of just disappeared from the game plan. Big couple third down catches, just steady. And then, he's unselfish in the run game too, getting out there. And him and Tyler Terhark and all of our receivers, for that matter, do a tremendous job in the run game. Perimeter Rams, we joke about it, but he made some big catches for us on Saturday and is a critical part of what we're trying to do offensively.
Just to the naked eye, the defense just seems to be tackling better, more people in position or around the ball. Have you seen that? And if so, why has that kind of happened over the last few weeks?
Just a continued, just keep stressing the fundamentals. And, going to try to keep pushing those fundamentals, playing with great pad level, being able to get off blocks, pursue into the football. I think Ross kind of, his question earlier, we got a season under our belt a little bit, and we should be playing better football at the end of the year.
Into the history of the Four Fingers thing this year. Can you reveal what you learned?
Well, yeah, we were talking about a little bit. Just, in fall camp, we always try to I like to talk a little bit about the tradition of the program and some of the roots of the program and things that are important. Buck Nystrom, former offensive line coach who was hired, I believe, Coach Mudra's second year he was here, along with Izzy. I think they both came in about the same time. I believe from just talking with Coach Hager, some of the other, Pat Simmers, some of the other historians of our program, or guys that know a lot more than I do about the program. I think it initially started more with kind of the conditioning phase. Coach Nystrom ran the off-season conditioning program, and I believe it kind of stemmed from that, and then moved its way into the football field, and never really was intended to indicate, fourth quarter, which it's kind of grown into that. But I think it had a number of other, characteristics behind it.
Big jump in total number of snaps for Siegel this week is what he's putting on tape, just kind of
Yep.
forcing his way into playing.
Our job is to put the best people on the field, and we're fortunate right now. We have 4 corners that really can play a bunch, and but Marquise has steadily continued to improve. And if you even start to look into some special teams, I think we kicked off 4 times this week. I think he had 3 tackles on kickoff cover, and just a kid who had a great tackler, physical. You guys have heard me talk. Former wrestler in high school. Love those guys. They just seem to know how to get people down as fast as they can. He's a big physical kid, and I think we're only scratching the surface of what he can do.
Last game of the year, playoff implications for both programs. Can you describe the atmosphere of a game like this?
Well, last game of the year, being senior week, I think every time we play our last home game of the year, there's a lot of emotions, especially for our veterans. It's kind of unique. We've been in kind of a unique routine lately. We haven't really had a full class ever graduate together since COVID happened. It's always partial classes, people coming back. And so I think it hits more of the team because everyone's kind of connected differently now. We have some 6-year guys staying. We have 6-year guys leaving. But I know our kids will be ready to go. I know they're excited. Anytime you get to finish the end of the year, as you said, Jeff, when there's other implications involved, you want to play your best football. You want games at the end of November to matter. And at NDSU, we've been fortunate that we've had a lot of important games in the end of November.
You had a conversation with your boss about where things are at with the FCS playoffs and what a win could mean potentially since he's on the committee?
Very little. I'm not going to – I probably bother him enough with other stuff right now that I'll give him a little bit of clearance. Maybe I'm sure, Saturday night I'll be bothering him. He'll see my truck parked out of his house waiting for him to give me some info.
Attention at all? You know where things are at least nationally, where things sit with you?
Not a whole lot. I'm not very good at that. I know 2 years ago I was on the coaches poll for voting, and it probably wasn't very good. I'll be honest. My focus is on the Bison. My focus is on my family, and besides that, I don't have any other time to be focused on anything else. And so I know that all this week it's about us playing our best version of football that we can. I'm excited about where we're at. I think there's been steps. Have we played our best football? Probably not, but that's what we're striving for, and I can't wait to get back to work today with our guys.